So I started off working in domestic abuse team with Tower Hamlets in Eva Armsby, and then now I'm working and just promoting for everybody in Tower Hamlets, not just internal, with regards to the reducing parental conflict, which is a whole set of funding delivered by the DWP. And by the way, please do just shout out questions and ask questions as we go along. Some of you might know about it already, but Tower Hamlets have invested quite a bit in. So I want to go through where you fit in, because it's really important. We all know that if you look at this particular slide, you'll see positive change, high risk, harm. Apparently, there's been something in the BBC News today about risk assessment, which is causing a little bit of fraction over in the town hall at the moment. So that's that area. Where I'm going to be talking about is reducing parental conflict, which actually applies to all of us. All of us. We all argue. We all have differences at home, but it's how it turns out. We don't want it to ever to go up to any kind of high risk. And there is a course that's in between. You can see there along that continuum of Better Together and the Supporting Families, which is the early repair, which is for fathers. And I'll talk about that as well. And I'll also talk about where you guys can fit in, more importantly. So just in case you didn't know, but Tower Hamlets do that. Their overarching approach is called repair, and it does stand for response to emotional and physical abuse in intimate relationships. So that's somebody won a competition for that. So that's what it's called. But the most important thing is to look at children, help about children, prevent harm for children. If they listen to an argument at home, they're going to take it on board, because parents, they learn from their parents and other family members. We're not going to avoid blaming. It's easy to get hold of mum, so therefore let's focus on her, whereas actually there's other people in the family as well. They use the name perpetrator here, but when we're talking about conflict, we're talking about fathers, everybody else that's in the family. And bearing in mind also the cultural context, Tower Hamlets is so rich, we know that, so rich in different cultures and contexts that they're living in. So for all of you to get that little bit of an idea of where it's all coming from. So what does parental conflict look like? Well, I guess you could probably tell me that, really. But yeah, sometimes, depending on how you're feeling, I mean, I've done it as well myself. It's just the way you hear things. I'm tired, I haven't slept, or I've had a bad day, and you hear things a bit different. And there's a little bit of a taster of a list. So I can also send the slides through to Angela for her to pass out to everyone. But it can go on to, if you don't understand or you're not listening to me, I'm going to shout. And so that's how it starts to escalate. But I think as a practitioner, and that involves all of you, and that is thinking about, where is parental conflict? And it's not domestic abuse. What is the difference? Because it isn't. It's very, very different. Some local authorities in the country have it completely separate. One is one and one is the other. But in Tower Hamlets, we do have it all linked together under repair. So it's all, one can go into the other, and it's about our relationship, really. So as it's Bank Holiday Week, I thought, what is the impact on children, right? So I've got a video here that I'm going to play, and let's ask the children, how do they feel when their parents argue? So hopefully, if you can't hear it, give me a shout, but I think you probably will.
My granddad and my grandma.
And what do they do?
Yeah,
They
can you hear it?
always argue about money.
Yes. Do they? What do they say?
They say,
Oops, sorry.
why they always argue about why one of them has more money than each other.
And does one want more money?
One wants more money, and the one who's got all the money doesn't give. only gives a little bit to my grandma. Well, once they were shouting, and it was really loud, and that our road is really long, and we were on one side having a walk, and then they started having an argument, and then they started shouting, and the people from the other side of the street could hear it. They were so loud. They were arguing in the kitchen, and I went in the front room and I sat on my dad's chair, and I was all curled up crying because I was upset. Sometimes it's not very good because they shout all day, and really I can't do my homework at school from St. Peter's on a Jane, and I can't do anything because they're shouting. Well, I just feel inside like a frost is coming inside, and everything's going wrong in the world. And then when they make up, then it feels like it's all coming back, and all the summer's coming back. If you're all, of course, arguing all the time, the children might get it in their minds and start doing it at school and doing it to their friends, and then have no friends. And then when they grow up and get married, they might start doing it thinking, this is what my mum and dad did, why don't I do it? Or if, say, the mum and dad argue, they split up, the child would think, well, that's the first idea, I'll split up then with my husband when I'm older. So it's not good to have arguments all the time, but I think now and then to learn what you're doing and see what you shouldn't do. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel worried. It feels really scary, like they're going to break up and one's going to go that side and one's going to go that side. So I don't know who to choose to go with, because I love both of them very much. So I don't really like them shouting. It scares me a lot. Crying like this.
So, what struck out? What connected? What stood out for you? Let's just have a little bit of a chat for it. Anybody? What about the words? It's okay, you can call out. Or maybe you can't. Are you in the offices? If you're in the office, maybe you can't call out. Oh, Husna.
Say something.
For me, it was the words, the description of the seasons, the frost, the summer. I found that very powerful.
And this particular video, thank you for that, because that is also, she's become quite famous, this little girl. This video is part of the online learning that Tower Hamlets have bought the license for. So you've got access to all of that, and when the parents go through their online learning, they will also, depending on which course they do, they will have access to that video and they can see. And the idea of the online learning is for parents to kind of self-reflect about self-regulation and just kind of thinking about where they're coming from and what their children are hearing. And Husna, you're so right. It is that struck me too as a highlight. As wow, this is children's world. It is the world that's gone mad, and that is their world, not what we see on the outside of everything else that's going on. And it's really and the reason I play this video fairly often is because it really helps to get where the children are coming from. You know, anything else that struck you, Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, I agree the imagery was very powerful, but I think just that sense that children feel, very young children feel sad and worried, and what's going to happen, that they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know how fast it's going to go. My parents are going to split up. I won't know who I'll live with. It's going to impact on all of their future relationships.
And so it does, Charlotte, as well.
Yeah,
yes,
it does.
I'm glad that you've mentioned that, because that little girl that's been pulled from one to the other, separated families is very in at the moment. Tower Hamlets have been talking about it a lot through the early help, through the family hubs, and it's a big thing, and about how to manage a separation, because it is very common. And I think, in the past, we haven't focused on it much. And so look at where she is coming from in her world. Yes, thanks, Charlotte, for that. The other thing, I think Husna touched on it as well with regards to the language. What about that older little girl, the older one sitting at the back? And she was saying, oh, well, it's good to argue, but I'll just have a divorce and go and get another husband. And it's really, when it comes to relationships, right, the younger people have got a different, to what we've learned when we were growing up, things have changed. And the attitude and the way that people look at relationships is very different. Well, if it don't work out, I'll go and get one then. That's it. Which is totally probably different to how, you look at relationships too. Okay. Any questions or queries or comments? Great. I shall just move that on.
My granddad and my grandma.
So, yeah, you're right. And I think Charlotte and Husna did touch on this as well. Children can get anxiety and depression, no question. And it's quite traumatising as well, I would say, for children, because they're going to build it up. And like Charlotte said, they're going to grow up and have relationships of their own. And it certainly is going to make a difference. And they're going to grow up and they're going to have relationships of their own. And of course, if you look at the bottom figure there, the fiscal cost of a family breakdown is estimated to be about 47 billion. In fact, I've seen a higher figure than that, but that's the one that we've been using. So it's a massive thing for government, for money, for health, for everything all around. It does impact and cost a lot of money. Now, in Tower Hamlets, because of all of this business that's going on in the news at the moment, currently, we are looking at abuse as being in these 4 categories. Not that anybody's going to fit in, but if you think about everybody in the whole world, including you, healthy conflict, yeah, you know what, I can argue and I can put my point across. Not about winning, but it's about having a discussion about sensitive and difficult topics with a partner or with an extended family. We can all do that. That's part of relationships. You've got the high red part there on that thermometer. It's a very busy slide, this. I will apologise for that, but the person that did it, we had to get it all down. But the higher risk is the domestic abuse, and that's where there's an imbalance of power, or there might be some physical abuse or coercive control. So domestic abuse, higher risk. Where it's difficult, and that a lot of practitioners do find difficult, is the orange and the yellow. When does it go from harmful parental conflicts and into domestic abuse? And the one big thing about it all is we don't ignore it. We have to start to be a little bit curious. Professionally curious is the term. And trauma informed as well, because you don't know where the background. We said that Tower Hamlets is culturally in the context. We've got to think about all of those things too, don't we, as to where a person might be. And so the hardest thing, and I've got some workshops that I'm going to be doing in the next month in various locations across the borough, talking about just that and what to do, not to ignore it, and to do something about it. So the domestic view. And so what have we got in Tower Hamlets here then? Oh, in fact, actually, I'll come back to that one, because while we're talking about this is the interventions that Tower Hamlets have got and invested in for people who argue. And the healthy conflict, everybody's open to learning. 1+1. The name of the company is called 1+1. That's where that video came from. They do an online learning. It could be self-directed, just hand out a leaflet or a QR code, and obviously it could be supported by yourself, depending on what your roles are. and how long you spend with families. But also there is a computer. We've got to get hold of the AI. There's a chat bot that people can consult with. Can you believe it? I know I actually just freaked out when I first saw this, but people are of the attitude that so much it's AI around, so that they're doing it for healthy relationships. And that might be the first start of somebody reaching out for some help, really. Then on top of that, we have got free in the borough for anybody a mediation service, which is part of the family group conference team. You do not have to be, a family does not have to be linked in with children's services to access that mediation. And then we've also got the, if they're separated, again, we've got an in-person 6-week course run by the Triple P family. They do a lot of different parenting courses, Triple P. They do for babies, they do for teenagers. And this is one of them for a transition between being part of a family and then being a single parent. And how do I tell my children? What do I tell my children? And how that works through. So that's delivered over at the parenting team. And then there is also, and you'll see that they're the same interventions for the harmful conflicts and the domestic abuse lower risk. There's a course for fathers. The next one starts in October. We call it early repair. And it's early. It's an awareness course for fathers with support for the other partners as well. It's just over 2 days. There is one day, and then a month later, another day. So it really embeds the learning about conflict in the home and the impact that it has on themselves, on their partners, on their family, and more importantly, the children. So that anybody can refer into that. People can self-refer as well. And that's a really an early intervention course for awareness. The courses some of the courses in other boroughs are, we call it early repair, but they're called different names in different boroughs. This is an awareness to stop it going into children's services with all the safeguarding plans that child in need and the child protection and the domestic abuse high risk internal to children's services. Any questions about that?
There's a question in the chat from Raquel around how can parents or professionals refer to these. I don't know if you want to. I'm happy to circulate any links after this.
I certainly will, yes. Sorry, Raquel, I can't see the chat when I'm sharing the screen. But yes, I've got a document that sort of says how to refer, because the reason why my job is here in the first place is that all of these interventions have got a different referral process. Because they're run by different parts of the organisations and different services. So I've got together, and I will certainly send it through to Angela to send out. And it's called How to Refer. And I mean, it's not pretty or anything like that. It's just a double page, Microsoft Word document, but it does give all the links in there as to where you get the referral forms, or for the 1+1, how to log on.
Thank you.
Is that okay, Raquel? Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So that you know. But also, so that you know, this is amazing, and is that what we're doing moving forward is to ensure it's not just sitting in the town hall, or early help. It's for everybody to be aware of all of the services available, and so we're recruiting what we call champions. And that's becoming an expert within your role, within your role and your organisation and your teams. It's not going to take over your day job, because you've all got different jobs to do. But what it will do, it will help to sustain the interventions in the borough, and you'll also gather skills and knowledge that you can ripple out to your own teams. There's going to be, I haven't put it on there, but there'll probably be a meeting every couple of months, short meeting. Not everybody can make them because you're all busy, and so therefore there'll always be a follow-up with a little bit of a newsletter. So it's really about the network. It's about the network of relationships. And if if you are, well, in fact, I'm going to send everything through to Angela. If you're interested in joining, then please do let me know, reach out, and I can put you on the list. You might not be able to make any, but you'll just want to know what's going on. That's how I was, actually. I wanted to know what's going on. I like to know what's going on, what's happening. And I love that. So please consider that, because you'll learn stuff, and you'll have that role to disseminate out to your teams. But it's like with anything, trauma informed or not, families separated here and there. And I think you already will have your own safeguarding procedures, I think. And that will be consult somebody, consult someone. For yourselves in Tower Hamlets, I've been doing them for the last few months. There's consultations. So if you get somebody, a practitioner, I've had health visitors get in touch with me, people from schools get in touch. Oh, Caroline, we've got this family and this has happened and that's happened. Where can I go with it? So until you build up your knowledge, please do reach out, and you can get the consultations. I'll give you the emails a bit later on, and it'll be on the slideshow that I give. The other thing that is going to be that is being rewritten anyway, and there is this screening tool or a risk assessment. And this is what was in the news, apparently, on the BBC News this morning. I didn't hear it, but there's been a few emails going around. So we're having a look at the current risk assessment, but Repair has got one. And so it just to use, some of you might use a dash or refer to someone, could be a children and family centre, could be an early help, could be MAST, or one of the specialised services. But I'm sure you've got all of that. I'm not going to change what you've got in place already. That's the key thing, as long as we follow it through. Any questions about that? If I just go a little bit more into the online learning, which is the best one for you guys, because you have got a day job to do. And I don't want to put anything more onto your daily work. Angela!
I was going to ask about the early repair course for fathers. I don't know if you're going to speak more about it later.
I can, but go ahead.
Okay. Have you run it before, and how is it being promoted?
It's being promoted through early help mainly, because it is run in the centres. I think it's going to be at Meath Gardens Family Hub, the next one, which is October, and I'll certainly send you the leaflet. I think it's that day one is October and day two is November. That's a month apart, so that they can really get the understanding, go back and put the skills and the awareness into their family home. So that's how that is coming round. If there is another way of advertising it then out there, I know we've got Denise in schools. Maybe she might want to. I know that sometimes that they have the family newsletters, or is it called the Head Teachers Bulletin that comes out? Could be advertised in that.
The reason I ask is I know sometimes it's challenging to kind of get things across to dads and for them to attend things as much as mums do, at least in Tower Hamlets. So any way that we can help, I guess, would be great. Happy to share it with the rest of the materials.
Oh, that's brilliant. And you're right, there's been a lot of talk countrywide about, for some reason, and James, you might be able to say something there on behalf of men and fathers, but actually you have to look at them differently. And they apparently what came out is they like to be invited. One of the key things. So, whereas a mum would say, oh, we've got this for you and we've got that for you, but actually with a father, they like to be invited. Somebody was talking about that on the last network meeting that I was at. The approach is different, and your relationship will be different because you're not seeing them all the while. There's loads of different scenarios, but that's the reason for that. James, if you're still here, have you got anything to add to that about engaging men?
From a male perspective, Hey,
Yeah.
I'll just like to point out I can't speak for all men. All right, but
No, you can't. This
no,
is
but I
true.
think there's good evidence, isn't there, that
Yeah.
parenting has changed over the last 40 years. I recently read Jonathan Haidt's The Anxious Generation, and we hover over our children a lot more now. We have a lot more involvement. I think, men, not always, of course, because I can't generalize. They
No.
do have a lot more kind of input into their children's
Yeah.
lives. When I was growing up in Tower Hamlets, I wouldn't see my dad on the weekend because he'd be at the pub.
Yeah.
That's changed, isn't it? That's all different now. So yeah, I do think that you may get more interest in fathers. But I think also as well, there's a lot of evidence to show that men kind of experience interpersonal communication, in different ways sometimes as well, more extrinsic, more kind of it's put out there instead of kind of internalized. But
Yeah.
that's not to say it doesn't happen. And you obviously can't, like I said, you can't apply
No.
everything the same across because you have to take in different variables and different factors. But yeah, more men. I suppose I can admit it's not unusual. I'm a dad of three, I'm involved in everything, I go to everything, and I want to understand what's going on. And yeah, if I can improve my communication with my partner,
Brilliant.
and I think that we're all looking to learn. We're kind of a generation now of self-help guides and stuff like that, aren't we? So it's not like we ain't primed for it.
No.
But yeah, so just my reflections on it really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yes, as well. I like that. Thank you very much for your input because because it is a bit of a difference, and we don't want to generalise. You're absolutely right. And different cultures will certainly. I mean, I spoke to a dad a few weeks ago, and there was nobody saying that he wasn't a good dad at all, but where he came across with I'm the provider and all my children and my wife should be really happy. How you just think about what you were saying about the balance of relationships these days, and actually she's really happy because he's doing everything for her, so she might want to go out to work. And we get a lot of consultations come in where actually they're not allowed to go out to work. So it really is really difficult. It's having those difficult conversations. And what this does is helps you. And this here, still on the screen share, the reason why I'm talking about this more is because it's easiest for you, because it's just a log on. But they've got 3 courses, 1+1. They've got one called Me, You and Baby 2. Perfect. Brand new baby. And my life is changing. I hadn't really thought about how much it was going to change. But this little course talks about the stress of what the relationship might turn into, and how to self-regulate and to empower parents to do that. The second one is a good one as well, called Arguing Better. So you can bring those skills into anyone, actually. It's not just your partner. You could bring that. I use these skills. I had an argument with my mum a couple of months ago now, and I use those skills, and I self-regulated, looked at myself, realised it was me, and dealt with it, so that it did not escalate into something nasty. So that those skills could be with a school, a parent with a school, or it could be with a bus driver. The skills are the same. And the third one, which is a good one as well, is for separated parents. Going on with what that little girl was saying in that video is, about the communication, getting it right for the children, about money, about contact, where it's safe to do so. So this is like parental conflict. There is a bonus one, which I haven't put on there, which is a short bonus course, which is about debt and relationships. Now, in Tower Hamlets, we've got an awful lot of practitioner, practical type of help with regards to money advisors, Toynbee Halls, Limehouse Project, loads and loads, but not so much about the emotional side. So there's a little bonus course on there as well. Another action, because this also fits in as well with regarding to separating. There is an app that you can download on the phone. There's been recently some really good reports about this app, in as much as you can include conversations now, messaging and communication. So if you don't want to talk, or not you, I'm saying you as generally, but if the parents don't want to talk to the other parent, then they can do so by going through this app, and also that eliminates some of the little digs that sometimes might happen with separated parents. And so this is a really good one to go for, separating better. Okay, so what's in it for you besides becoming a champion? 1+1 have got a practitioner guide, a log-on platform themselves, that all of you, whilst the license got moving forward, all of this you've got access to, all the 3 programs. As a practitioner, you might want to know where the evidence comes from and the theory. It does tell you all of that as well. And there's some lovely little things on there called Getting On Better cards, which are little nuggets about explaining about relationships from honeymoon period to what's it when the children all leave home. There's a name for it, isn't there? I can't remember what it's called now.
Empty nests.
Empty nest. Thank you, Charlotte. And there's lots of other types in between, from honeymoon right through to empty nest. And so there's different stages of relationships. So there's little cards that demonstrate that. So, and there's a document that gives you with more evidence and techniques too. So do go in, log on, register, use your email to register and go through that I would suggest. Now, I know Angela's seen this video, but I'm going to play you another video now. Sharing. And what this video is about is just bringing it home in a fairly light-hearted way about how misunderstandings happen and how things could potentially escalate. So I'm going to share this, and the way I'm going to share it must include the sound. Not from, I did that before. That's what happened before. Stop, do the screen. Share. And right, can you see the screen?
Not yet.
No, okay. That's exactly what happened before. That's weird. Yeah. So sharing the screen. Come on, share. Not that. It's not that. Don't know why I can't. I don't want to.
Do you want to share your browser window?
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah, it's my browser window I want to do. But I'm sharing the screen and I don't want to share that one because I want to come out of the, there it is. Right, so here we go now. Here's my browser window. Right, can you see that?
Yes.
Great, lovely, because this is the one where we play it. So this is coming straight from one of the online learnings. And this is, why do we misunderstand each other? So going back to what we said earlier, depending on what mood we're in, then have a look at this video and see what you think. I'd love to have some feedback on it, about a couple relationship and about what they see and what they hear. I'm sure you'll enjoy this because it's really helpful.
I think I just need some quiet time on my own. I don't love you anymore.
We need some more help around the house. My mum would do a better job than you.
We need to check our budget. You're spending too much.
You haven't lying today? Wake up, lazy. We've got a lot to do today. Whoa, these nappies are expensive. We bought the wrong nappies. Again.
I got up 5 times last night. I work so much harder than you.
Hey, I'm home!
Shh, I just got to sleep. Shut up. Nothing you have to say matters anymore.
You look tired. You look awful.
Make sure it's locked into place. You are a danger to our child.
Okay. So, what's your thoughts on that one?
So relatable.
I know, we had a meeting last week and then somebody said, I want that video for my husband. So it actually relates to everybody, you know. It really does, depending on what mood you're in and what you hear and what is meant and how many times do people say, oh, I didn't mean it like that, you know, all of that. But you see, what it's all about is about awareness, self-regulation, and doing something about it. So this has been taken from one of the programs, and I just want to show you. This is once you've logged in as a practitioner guide, then you've got a selection here of the 3 main courses, the evidence behind it, and all the extra material. For parents, what they do is when they sign up, they get the link. Sign up in England. Yeah, we're in England. Click on London, and then you can see lots of the boroughs that's involved, and Tower Hamlets is one of them. Because some people do say to me, well, what if another parent, if they're separated and the other parent lives in another borough? That's fine. If wherever, as long as it benefits the children, and then if it's not one of these boroughs and it's another borough, then they can still use the Tower Hamlets login because it's about the children. Okay, so that's what they would do, and create a free account, and then the parents can go through. All right, so I think we're pretty much done now. Just gonna go. Right. Whoops, Daisy, just to go. Yeah, so just finally then, to give you, I will certainly send this out to Angela. There's 2 email addresses. There's Roxana, who's part of the learning, what are they called? Practice leads in the Learning Academy. She's open for any of you to consult with. There's me, of course. There is lots of information that you can get besides the how to refer document that Angela's going to be sending you. But you can get stuff from the website of Tower Hamlets for parents, for practitioners, they've got their own, and the family hubs have got a whole section as well, because it just fits everywhere, really. And that's it, really. And I'll send it out so you will all. How does that sound for everyone?
Thank you so much. I think it's really, yeah, it's great to have had this presentation. I think because we haven't had anything that's focused on kind of prevention and like, I guess, early intervention around trauma, but also building in kind of what parents' experiences might kind of, how they might inform their behavior. So I think it's really great to have had that. And even if I know some of the people in this room are kind of more focused on adult services, but I still think it will be hopefully relevant to lots of you. I wonder if anyone has any follow-up questions for Caroline.
Caroline, can I just say that where I work at LEAP, which is London East Alternative Division, we're seeing, so myself and a colleague have actually had to do some training because we're seeing more child-to-parent violence. It's escalated in the past year or so. Yes. So we deliver a programme, but I think some of us basically looking at this, it's really helpful for me because it sort of matches up what we're trying to, I can see the patterns escalating. So I think for us, I'm going to go back now to the head teacher so we can have like that time scale. Yeah. So what's green, what's amber, what's red, and then but we are seeing more. We've got a waiting list. We've got 28 parents currently attending.
Wow.
And they're getting referred from other schools. So we're seeing an escalation in the past year.
Yeah. Yes, there is, and also there is part of the repair approach. I don't know if anybody's linked, any of those families are linked in with children's social services or young youth services. But there is some courses that you could go on for child to adult, child and adolescent to parent violence as well, which comes under repair. It does come under that too. So there is a little bit out there. So, we can side skill ourselves. I think one of the beauties about this communication about the conflict is, you can't run all the courses all the time. And so whilst, we're on a waiting list, like you said, a waiting list for a while, they could possibly do some of this self-regulation stuff, getting them ready for coming on your courses. So you could use it that way as well. Great. Thank you. And that was you, Denise. Was that you, Denise, that said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
Because I think I've got the oh yeah, that's it. I've just closed it. And James, you've got your
Yeah, thank you. Very great presentation. I've heard it before, Caroline, because I think you have come to another forum that I've been in, which is great. It's always great to reignite the like memory and stuff. But I'm wondering, like, how much do you have interaction from adult services? Do you get a lot of input, referrals and stuff?
I do, yes. I did. You're right, actually. I did do an adult services presentation as well. Absolutely. And if you again, where Denise was talking about child to parent or adult child to adult parent, because mediation is really good for that. The take up on it very much is pretty good because it helps that regulation thing as well. And more importantly, what comes through is grandparents to parents to children, and the children are impacted. Grandparents is trying to keep the peace and smooth things over. But is that resolved? No, it's people are not really talking about it. And so for that reason, that comes in. It gets a bit more complex, but doable. And that's where a lot of the mediation team does get a lot of inquiries through, James.
That's really interesting. That's
Yeah,
because I have a lot of discussions with colleagues for safeguarding inquiries, and I think that's like something that comes up as a need a lot of the time, like that mediation. So when you send the stuff around, I'll make sure I escalate it out as well.
fabuloso. Yes, yeah, that's great. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Lovely. Great. Anyway, I think Raquel, I can see you now. Is everybody else okay? Angela, over to you.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I wondered because I know that a lot of this is focused on parents, and obviously that is relevant because we do have a large population of, actually, it's more than half of households in Tower Hamlets have at least one child. So it is relevant to more than half of households in the borough. But I wonder if there's something similar out there that you know of that is helpful for relationships and conflict where they're not parents. Is that something that you're aware of, even if it's like a national?
There is. Yes, there is. It's a lot of it is more therapeutic support. We've got our talking therapies, and also we just found out at the moment a really good counselling service for women was called Woman's Trust. But at the moment they're waiting for some more funding to come in for Tower Hamlets. They've always been on and off and in and out. So then we look upon Mind possibly for some one-to-one support, very much so. And the main organisations that work, and it includes men as well, is Victim Support, do one-to-one support, and also Solace Wood. I know there's Solace Women's Aid, but they're in partnership with other organisations in order to support men as well. So, but it's about getting to know it, isn't it? Isn't that the thing? It's about getting to know what there is out there. And, I've been out there for 2 years, which is why James has probably said he's heard me before. I try and change it to make it a bit interesting. But, you know, it's hard because organisations come and go. But there is one good thing. I don't know if you've picked up that's quite good about trauma and relationships, which applies to everyone. And on the Family Hub's website, they have got a process, I suppose it's called. It's called the Solihull approach. Have you heard of that before? Charlotte's nodding. James is shaking his head. They've got 2 adult courses. One of them is about healthy relationships, but the other one is about my trauma in relationships. And that it's an online course. And I think, if I remember rightly, you might be able to get it translated into I don't know whether they use some kind of a Google thing to translate. Charlotte, maybe you might know a bit more on that.
I know it's, well, I think Angela knows about
Yeah.
what's on offer in terms of the Solihull approach. I don't know precisely, but I think, I mean, it occurs to me that, you know, it would be brilliant to have a kind of a mapping exercise of all the different things that are available so that people feel there, because there is so much available. But my question or thought was about how, is there a triaging system now where parents who are experiencing conflict or difficulty in relationships are kind of, first of all, do the online thing and then you can get some other talking therapies? Or is it just you can do this if you feel like it?
Yes, I think when it's early help and prevention and it's about consent and choice, it's very much about how they are, but someone's got to tell them. So that's where you come in, because somebody needs to kind of signpost or suggest or something. There is always the MAST, obviously, and your early help. But it's also, you know, the way I've been working is going out to everybody, the health visitors and all sorts of people that go out and go into families. So it is about choice until it's not their choice. And when it starts going, the way I refer it, when it starts going upstairs into safeguarding, that's the bit where, back in my old job, that's the bit where the choices are taken away because we've got to go through the statutory. So we really want to empower people at this end, at the early help and prevention end, to stop it going up there. And then, because I used to get clients all the while in positive change, traumatise themselves by the system and say, I'm just doing everything that everybody's told me to do and it's still not right. And this is happening and that's happening. And, you know, and people in child protection conferences, they're all being talked about their own lives. It must be just awful. You know, that's traumatizing in a lot of ways as well, especially if you've got an interpreter as well. So, you know, we want to try and empower people a little bit earlier by giving people that choice and getting them to do it. And when they do, there's a lot of stuff online now on the YouTube about the different interventions and about what they do. And as I say, it's national. Everybody's doing it. Does that answer your question, Charlotte? A bit?
Yeah, a bit. Thank you. I suppose I was thinking about kind of the tightening purse strings all the time, and whether that it's sort of, but obviously, and whether it's sort of like, well, you need to do this before we can spend money on the next intervention. But in some ways, doing something online is much less threatening than going and speaking to a human being if you're struggling.
Yeah.
Because
which is why
you're not going to feel like anyone is criticizing you or you know, misunderstanding what you're saying.
I know, isn't it just awful? Yeah, it is. And that's why the chatbot thing, the AI, that's a good start, because you're talking to a computer online, and they are really, you know, it's about children's impact mainly. It's focused on children, but there is also another little bot that's part of it all that will help with constructing kind of text messages and emails to the ex-partner, to the other partner. So it's helpful in a lot of ways, and that's a really good start. And they can do that in different languages too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, Angela, you're right. I just read your note there. Complex.
I was just going to say, there are a couple of Solihull parenting courses online that Caroline mentioned that are on the Family Hub's webpage. So I will include that when I send out the kind of email with the information afterwards. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and thanks Caroline for bringing all those great support and resources to people's attention. We can start to bring the meeting to a close, but if there's any other kind of final comments or questions, do post them in the chat, or you'll be able to contact Caroline afterwards. And yeah, I think it's a great, like, we're fortunate to have these different kind of levels of support available. So I think that that's important to focus on. And so I should say for next month, we'll be hearing from hopefully 2 presenters, but definitely one will be slightly different focus. So we'll be hearing from our health determinants research collaboration. And the focus is a bit more on, I guess, like methods of engaging residents in priority setting. So if people haven't heard of the HCRC program, it'll be a good opportunity to learn about how that's going and what residents have been able to contribute to that in order to kind of agree priorities for research and how that relates to health. So that we'll hear from that program next month. And I'm gonna, before you go, pop into the chat a quick evaluation form. So please do complete it. It should take you like